Axiom Verge 2, released August of 2021, retailing for $19.99. Available on all modern platforms. Axiom Verge starts with us being delivered to an Antarctic research station. We play as a woman named Indra, the founder and CEO of some mega corporation. We're here to find out what happened at the research station, and specifically what happened to our daughter. After a little exploring around the abandoned station, we find ourselves transported to another world, possibly another reality altogether. But you'll find in the only direction you can go, a voice calling out to you. Trying to get to that voice, you will drown. It turns out that voice is something called an arm. They are effectively the game's way of giving you new abilities. This particular arm, and several others you get, actually have a consciousness inside them that can communicate with you. And apparently they were living beings at one time, but now they are entirely artificial. This particular arm makes it impossible for you to drown, and also makes you respawn at save points. And shortly after your first respawning after your last drowning, you will discover a big change from the first Axiom Verge, in that there are other people here with you. These are the people that were part of the research station you were investigating. You and them are now trapped in the world you're currently in, as the way you arrived here is a one-way trip. Of course, over the course of the game, your actual goal will change, though your desire to find your daughter never fades. Speaking of your goals, you will always have a dot on your map showing you where you need to go, though actually getting to that point in the world can be counterintuitive, as in more than one situation, you have to get something that's far away from that dot on your map before you can actually get to the dot. And sometimes you have to go completely to the other side of the map, as after all, this is a metroidvania, and you probably need to find yet another arm to give you an ability to make another area accessible. Interestingly, as you explore the world, you will actually encounter bosses. However, in the vast majority of cases, you can simply run right by them and ignore them entirely. However, it may be in your best interest to actually fight these bosses, as all the various arms you acquire can be upgraded, and you can choose which ones to upgrade as you see fit, as the items for upgrading arms are dotted around the map and hidden away in corners. The bosses you encounter, if you actually choose to fight them and win, will always give you several of the upgrade items. But honestly, the most useful thing to upgrade is probably your hacking ability. Though I suppose that does depend on your playstyle. It's interesting to note that these arms actually slowly strip away your literal humanity, to the point that late in the game you cease to have a human body. But our character Indra never actually loses her humanity in a more abstract way. Still thinking of the safety of the people that are trapped here, still thinking of her daughter. One of the arms you find allows you to spawn a little drone, very similar to the first game. This drone has several uses, but the most interesting of them is that it can go into yet another world. There are particular points where you can enter and exit this world, and it is separate from the main map, but also connected to it, meaning things accomplished in one world can affect the other world. And at several points you have to use this world to access areas you otherwise couldn't. At first this game does seem as if it's completely unconnected from the first Axiom Verge. However, very late in the game, it becomes very clear that this game is directly connected to the original. And even before that point, if you're thoroughly looking and find the right text documents, you do see references to the first game here and there. So is Axiom Verge 2 worth your time and money? Well, it does fill in a lot of background details for the world of Axiom Verge. In fact, the game seems far more interested in fleshing out the world that the two games take place in than in actually being a gameplay follow-up to the original, as both games are technically Metroidvanias, but they are very different games despite this. As this game is far more interested in you exploring the world and finding little details, making most of the combat avoidable if you choose. Though it doesn't go all the way with that idea, as not all combat is fully avoidable. You will, at the very least, have to fight 2 bosses, and honestly, if you haven't fought any of the others to get upgrade materials yet, they'll be pretty hard. Overall, I would say it's a much weaker experience than the original Axiom Verge. However, that doesn't make it a bad experience for what it is. So yes, I do feel that Axiom Verge 2 is worth its $20 asking price. However, if you're looking for more of the first game going in, you are not going to find it. And if you are a huge fan of the first game, I would recommend waiting for a sale. And yes, much like the original, Axiom Verge 2 goes on sale frequently, and for very cheap prices. This game does mostly feel like it's just here to fill in details, and makes me wonder if there's an Axiom Verge 3 in the works somewhere. But I guess time will tell on that one. Please do subscribe, comment, like, and tell your friends.